Hi, my name is Julie and I am the teen librarian at the Central Branch Library. And today we are going to make this nice little skull bracelet. So it has a little sliding knot here that can tighten and you can pull the little edges through and it'll loosen up so you can get it on. So what you should have in your little kit when you pick it up at the library is a couple of the little skull beads right here. You may not use them all depending on how big or small your wrist is. And then you will have 2 lengths of cord. Yours is probably going to be black for Halloween, but I'm going to just demonstrate with this colored one. So you have a short length right here that's about 12 inches, and then you have a longer length right here. And this is what we're going to do with the bracelet. And this is how we're going to tie the little fastener at the end that will make a slip knot for you to slip it through. So you can put the little one aside, and you will have a straw as well. So mine got a little bent up in the process coming over here. If yours kind of gets bent in transport, don't panic. It really doesn't have to be that clean. We're going to show you how to cut it because you won't even use it all. All right, things that you will need. A ruler will be helpful. You could probably get away with not using one if you didn't have it and kind of eyeball it, but it is helpful. And of course a pair of scissors. The scissors just to basically cut the straw and the cord. And so really any pair of scissors will probably do you just fine. All right. So first we're going to make our little kind of like a little crutch to help you tie these knots, and you're going to cut 1 1/4 inch of a bit of straw. So if you want, you can use a pen or a marker as well to kind of mark it, but I'm just going to bring it up to about 1 1/4 inch right there. And you don't have to be right on the money, and just snip it and then put that aside. You will need another bit of straw for the end, and I'm going to put the scissors aside too, so we don't need those. All right, so we're going to tie our sliding knot. So you're going to take and place the cord alongside the straw. So what I'm going to do here, and this is where the ruler can come in a little handy, is you can leave, I'm going to use this other end. All right, so you can take about 6 inches roughly from the edge of your cord, the long piece of your cord, and you're going to hold that straw alongside the cord. Okay, so we want a little bit on the end, so we have a little extra to fasten it to slide through our sliding knot at the end. All right, so you're going to put it alongside a section of cord, and then you hold both the cord and the straw in your left hand right here. And then you're going to take the right side of the cord and wrap it up and over the straw. And then you cross it over itself. And then just keep looping it about 5 times. And don't get caught too much in how you count it. Just you'll see how long your knot is, and I'll show you that you should be good. So then you're going to take the right side of the cord, and after you continued it about 4 to 5 times around the straw, you're going to hold it in your left hand again, and you're going to put your fingers over that wrapped cord to hold it in place. And then you're going to take your the right end of the cord and run it through the straw from the left to the right. So you're going to go that way, and you're going to pull it, and you're going to have a bit to work with because you're just beginning. It'll get shorter later. I'm going to pull the straw through it a little bit. I'm going to pull that cord a little taut. So I'm going to hold this kind of snug here, and I'm going to pull the straw out, and you don't even have to worry about pulling it off. You want to kind of pull your right cord and your left cord kind of at the same time, and it'll tighten up. Just kind of alternate if you need. Tighten up that knot and don't let it go. You see it's still loose. All right, and you want to tighten it All right, and you don't have to go too tight with this, okay? It gets nice and snug. So it's a little snug, but it's still loose here. And that's kind of good because I can move it to where I want it. You see, I still have over 6 inches, so I can like scoot this down a little bit. And don't worry, if you go way in the middle, you can just tie knots from the other end. So if you want to start in the middle of your cord, you can do that as well. All right, so now I take off that piece of straw. All right, and the next thing is we got to put a skull on there. So you grab your little bead and run it through. All right, so I have a little space there and knot still a little loose. I can kind of tug it that way, and I can tug that one in a little bit if I want it tight. So you can choose how much space you leave between that skull bead and the knots. So if you want it to move a little bit, which is probably preferable because to get them all perfectly tight is going to be a little difficult, so leave them a little space. So, and as you can see, these knots aren't hugely tight just yet. I don't want to tighten them yet because once you have all of your beads on there, you can then tighten them up and move these around a little bit and have the spacing the same in between all of the skulls and the knots. All right. And so one thing I do want to show you here is, for example, here, I like this knot and how this one came out. But this one, maybe I'm not too happy with it. You can undo these knots very easily. You just look where this big long cord is going and kind of loosen it up. And that's why you don't want to tighten it up too much at this point. You can tighten it up later when you're done and you're happy with it. And basically it's kind of just like untying a shoelace, but you have to do it multiple times. So I'm going to do this here to show you. So it just takes a little patience to undo this knot. But like I said, if you don't tighten it up, it's easy. All right. And that last one just looks like you tied your shoes and you untie it. All right. Okay, so once you get about 4 beads in, you kind of want to check it. I could probably leave it there because I have small wrists. If you have larger wrists, you may want to add another one. Okay, to do the sliding knot, you can either cut another piece of straw or you can take your other piece that you were just using, about the same length, and you want to cut it down with your scissors, sticking it in and just slicing it through, and I already did it to this one. And we're going to take the 2 ends here, and I'm going to run one through from left to right and the other through from right to left. Okay, so your 12-inch piece of cord is what you're going to need now, and to distinguish this cord, which is going to make your knot around this straw, with these, we're going to tie a little loop on each end. Or, I'm sorry, not a loop, a knot. So make a loop and shove the end through, and it doesn't have to be exactly near the end. I have a generous amount of cord on here, so it doesn't have to be right at the edge. Eventually, we'll retie them and put them where we want them. They don't have to be, they can be snug, but you know, easily, so you can easily undo them, and that's fine. So for your 12-inch bit of cord, you're going to loop it. Okay, you're gonna loop it. Put the loop on the left, long piece on the right. So it's not an even loop. Okay. And you're gonna put that loop on alongside the straw, kind of like you were doing before with the knot. Just this time you have more pieces going through the straw. So you're gonna grab the long end of the loop and hold this really lightly because we're gonna have to feed this end through the loop. So cross over, and remember, when you're dealing with the knot, or when you're making this knot, the ends with the knot are not the ones that you're tying it with. They're just running through. All right, cross it over itself. and you're going to loop it same way you did, except you're going from the right to the left here. You want to go at least 4 times, maybe 5 if you can do it. And you want to not go so tight, and I don't know that I did. Let's see, I might have gone too tight. I want to get this through, I think I went just enough, through all the way there, from the right to the left. So we're going kind of the opposite direction to make this knot. Okay, so I can see that little end pulling through. I'm going to pull it. It's going to pull that straw out. Don't worry about the straw. So this is my end. This is my end because it doesn't have a knot on it. And I can pull both of those to tighten it up. Again, you want to ignore the ones with the knots on it. You can pull them out of the way if you need. And hopefully that'll tighten it up. And again, you're going to be holding this in between your fingers. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So the knot slides through nicely. Okay. So what you can do at this point is trim these past the knot. So the knot is going to keep it from sliding all the way through. So that's the edges of your bracelet. And then this can tighten up pretty good. And I'm going to leave a little edge just in case. If it slides through, I can tie a knot. You can go a little closer if you want. Tighten that up. And I can always trim more. Okay. And you pull on the ones. You can trim those up more. I'm not going to do that right now. You pull those. Yeah. Yeah. So it's sliding through really well. All right. It's hard to do it when it's on your own wrist. There you go. You will have these hanging off, so you can see I could maybe, if I loosen that up to get it off, I could maybe even put those a little closer and trim a little more off of these. That's up to you and how big and small your wrist is and your hands, because some people will have a tiny wrist, big hands, and they need to get that off of it. Mine fold up fairly easy, so I can slip. I'm going to trim a little more off of this. There you go. Let me pull this one because this one seems a little shorter. There we go. All right, and there you go. You have made your little skull bracelet.